Okay, so another video on the Honda Pioneer 1000 5-seater deluxe, and this is a later video on the highlifter kit I did. Here's my snorkel. I didn't run it up the cage, but I don't want to talk really about the snorkel setup. I actually want to talk about the vent lines. A lot of people who don't go crazy mudding don't have to run them up to the top of the cage. Have to run vent lines from the rear diff, from the shift selector box, from the gas tank, from the transmission, from the engine, from the coolant, and from the coolant fan. You have to, all these require a breather line, and you have to run them up with your snorkel to the top of the cage. Normally people run them up here, but I'm not going to do some crazy mud, so I just run it right here. But what I actually did was I run all of my lines into the glove box. My glove box is kind of full and dirty, but I cut this hole saw, and this hole is the latch right here, and then this is the hole I cut so I could put a hull fitting glued to a piece of PVC through the hole with threads. Push that through the hole, and I put a lock nut on this side, and I put all my tubing through this, and I cut these slots so I clamp it to this, and it's all underneath inside my glove box, so I know where all my vent lines are at. Put a worm clamp over it. So the biggest question is on all these vent lines. A lot of people don't know where they're at. Well, you have one that comes off your coolant, which is right here. Apologize for being dirty. I'm in the middle of cleaning. I got the hose barb with the hose. I ran up through one of the plastic holes, and this line runs all the way up. This is my snorkel, second battery, which I haven't done a video on that, to the tubing that's going to run to the dashboard. And this one here is actually teed with the radiator. Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't mention this one. This one is teed to the radiator and to the fan, and that runs up to the dashboard. I'll show you the vent here, right there. Runs through the hole next to the other one to a T, which is with the radiator fan. I'll jump down, and if you see that tubing right there, that is on the fan, and those are all going to run to the dashboard. And we will jump to the rear. So this is the shift selector box, which you have to adjust periodically so your turf mode will work when you go to shift from turf to two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive to four-wheel diff lock. And once you take off this box, it's a whole nother video. But there's a vent line right here where my fingers are at. I'm tapping on it. If anyone can't see that, that's the vent line coming out of the box, and I ran it this way. And I will show all of them here in a second, but there's also a rear diff line I had to run, which there's a lot back here, but I have this little plastic housing to protect it from rubbing, and this is the line. You can find it back here. Normally it clips into these clips right here, and I just took it down and rerouted it. Let me try and zoom out. I rerouted it. This is the shock for the bed for lifting, but this right here is the line. Try and zoom out, make sure everyone can see it. I run it around here, down onto my cable here, around the shift selector box, and I connected it to the other vent line coming out of my shift selector. And all of those run up here through the frame, and you can see the connection I have going. You can see my finger wiggling underneath here. I got all the lines. I actually did a 90 off the this is another line you have to run off the engine, and I did a galvanized 90 with the brass fittings, and that one, just so you can see where it's at, I ran that with the other two, so you got three now. These were all running together with zip ties. This will be a lot cleaner once I'm done. I'm just in the middle of reorganizing everything. And then this one is off the transmission. This is the transmission vent. I have this barbed into the other three lines. And then this is the gas tank vent. And this one runs down through the frame and connects to all the other lines I have connected together that are running to my glove box. And what I did was I took a piece, I got this at the hardware store. You can find, it's like an automotive plastic tubing, and it's split, and I put all my lines in it. I can't remember which size I got. I got as big as I could get. I think it was at O'Reilly's. But I ran all my lines into this, and I run them up next to the same line that the electrical wiring actually has the same kind of tubing, and they run it up through, and it comes up underneath the wheel well. You see I'm in the passenger side wheel well, and I run that up with the electrical line so it's not in the way, it's not touching anything, zip tie it right to it. And I run it right underneath the hood and right into my hole right there, which is drilled into the glove box. And that is all of my vent lines ran from my highlifter kit. Probably sounds very confusing, but if you actually have to do it, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's really no easy way of explaining all this. It's kind of one of those, you gotta sit down and figure it out. And well, if you're one of those people who like to bring it to the dealer, this probably isn't for you, but I'm sorry, I don't really trust the dealers. I like doing everything myself, all the maintenance. And probably looks funny right now, I got all the plastics off. I'm trying to clean everything up. And it will be easier if you take them all off. So if you're saying, oh, I want to try and do this with all my plastics on, good luck. It only takes about an hour to get to all of this, to get all that exposed. So either you're just being lazy, but that is how you run all your vent lines for your snorkel system on your highlifter kit. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll keep you updated on the Honda Pioneer 1000 Facebook page.